So a couple years ago, I thought I was going to preach this series on Joseph. And instead of calling it living the dream, the Old Testament Joseph, I was going to call it defining the dream. Because what we do sometimes in Bible study, and I'm as bad as anybody, is we take and we co-opt a concept. So Joseph had a dream, right? I have a dream. Martin had a dream. My dream is to blank, be a senior pastor, make a film. Great, it's a dream. Not that kind of dream. Joseph's dream was a prophetic dream, right? He saw these sheaves of grain bowing down. Y'all remember the story? Interesting thing happens in Joseph's life though. He goes through all this hardship, all these things where God is using him indeed in all of these spaces. And all of those spaces do connect to ultimately what God is going to use him for. One thing that stood out to me when I was studying the story, it flipped me out. I never really figured out how to share it, so I've been sitting on it. Joseph, in his early years, he's maybe 17 years old. He gathers his family one day. He's like, let me tell you my dream. I saw y'all bowing down to me. It was crazy. Y'all were all there, and I was at the center. And y'all were all bowing down. So it felt like influence, felt like grandeur. They didn't like it. They almost killed him for it. Maybe some immaturity in him sharing it in the way he did. What I found 13 years later, he's in prison. There's a butler and a baker, no candlestick, just a butler and a baker. And they're sitting there and they have problems, they're troubled. And Joseph says something that to me represents a pivotal shift. He doesn't say, listen to my dream. He says, tell me your dream. Then when he got in front of Pharaoh, he said, tell me your dream. And there's some type of maturity thing that must have happened to him along the way, where he realized that the key to the dream God gave me is in the dreams that God gave others. And then his dream comes true. What does it look like? Grammys? No. Responsibility. Now his brothers come to him. And you know what Joseph's dream ended up looking like? Him weeping because he had to help the people who hurt him. So do you still want to dream? Because really sometimes we do a disservice to the concept of a dream when we just substitute in whatever thing we think we want to do with our life. The dream on the other end of it for you, it wasn't a different dream. It's still the same dream God gave you. You're just doing it from a different place. It's just a different angle on the same dream. And if you compartmentalize your life, well, I thought I was gonna, and I thought they were gonna, and I just thought it was gonna this and that and this and that. Don't try to define the dream too much too soon. God wants it to unfold in a way that you understand it as you go along. And I'm really concerned because I see more people than ever going like, I'm gonna follow my dream, I'm gonna follow my dream, I'm gonna follow my dream. But what they're really doing is following their ego. And I've been guilty of it sometimes. I've been following my idea of what my dream was. To be led by God is a totally different thing. It doesn't mean you don't have dreams and aspirations. I wish that everybody in this room was more aspirational, not less. I am not saying because this is what, when you get into contentment talk, it always turns into this thing where it's like, if you're single, Jesus is your boyfriend. Shut up, you're married. That's how I feel about it. I don't feel like I get to say, if you're single, Jesus is your boyfriend. Well, Netflix and Jesus. I don't feel like it's allowed to be like that, where you just project, just get over it. That's not what I mean by contentment. What I saw in the passage that stood out to me is that Paul is calling people within one body, kind of like we're all doing one purpose. He's calling them to be content with their gift, but do not be identified with it. Now, this is master level class. You can leave if this is boring to you. I'm saying if you over-identify with your gift, you will miss your purpose because you confuse the two. Your gift, okay, the thing that you're good at. Tell a little bit about what you were gonna say about, you said strengths and skills are two different things. And I wanna hear more about that.
I was thinking about it this past week, and I think, a skill set is something you can learn. You're good at, you're a graphic designer, you learned that skill, you're good at Excel, you're a singer. I think sometimes we build our hopes and our dreams around skills or things we enjoy doing rather than digging deeper to find the underlying strength. So yes, you might be a singer, but your underlying strength is you have a pastoral heart for people. You're a graphic designer, but really your strength is creativity, and that can be applied across multiple different skill sets.
So is what happens then you sell yourself short?
I think you have a better foundation to build on and a more lasting foundation, because I think the strength can go through any season, and I think you just use different skill sets in different seasons. So for me, you're talking about the dream looks different. I still feel like I look at being a worship leader different now, a worship pastor. I'm helping lead the whole church in worship through a video that we might do, or putting the whole experience together. And so to me, that's how I line my heart up with what I always loved doing. I just see it differently now. I mean, the way you said that was so perfect, and that helped me kind of wrap my mind through some of those transitions. The way I do it looks different, but the heart and the passion and the strength is all there.
That's so funny. I mean, it's so true. Like, I looked at Graham last summer on vacation. I was like, what could we do to make our lives better? You look back, this is a great Graham line. Graham goes, I said, what do we do to make our lives better? He said, they're about as good as they could get. Now, contrast that with Lil Yachty. He had a song, you say it's good, I say it's great, it could be better. I'm like, that is the anthem of the age. I get that to a degree, like we want to be getting better. If we're serving, we want to serve better. If we're show mercy, we want to show mercy better. But what is this thing in us that always makes us need to be something that we're not? It's what I talked about at Inside Elevation about despising your gift. I really think that's what the enemy always wants you to do, is to kind of demote your area of giftedness and be like, well, I am good at relationships, but that's not anything. When I was talking to Autumn, she used to be Sullivan, help me. English. She was saying, she was laughing because I say, okay, think about what you do as a preacher. You talk. What do we say about talk? Talk is cheap. How does that make you feel? The thing you do is cheap. Or they'll say, he's all talk. So the thing I do is often used as a thing to say, like, it's nothing. And she goes, I can't believe you said that. She said, the words you speak for me and Jay, like, we live by those words. Those words come through you from God, we know, but God gives them to you and we live by them, and you. That's the thing. That's the thing that happens. And when it happens, what it does is it deflates you in the things that you are good at. Because the concept of a dream, I'm doing a poor job explaining it, but the way I saw Joseph, how the dream must have felt to him at age 17, and what it looked like when it showed up in real life in the form of his brothers who he hated, and they're like, we need some food. This is the dream. This is the dream. This is the dream. And getting that across to yourself, it takes care of so much of your misery, your sadness, your moping, your self-pity, because you're like, oh, this is the dream. Of course it looked different at age 30 than it did at age 17. It was the same dream, but it was in a different dimension because it looks one way from a distance, right? And life and adulthood and having kids and all of these things, it looks one way from a distance. So being able to recognize the dream when it comes in real form is a skill to go like, oh, this is it. This is what I'm called to do. Not that this, not something else down the road. This. There is no there. I am here right now.